Okay, guys, it's time for math. We are going to skip chapter 16, which is the metric measurement chapter. We talked a little bit about this when we did our customary measurements, so you are free to practice with that if you would like to. We've done some of those sort of measurements with liters and centimeters, meters, that sort of thing in science as well. So we are not going to do the work text for that chapter, but you're certainly welcome to go through it if you wish and see what you know, okay? So we are going to move on to chapter 17, and this is where we're going to work with multiplication problems. We're going to be multiplying two numbers by one number, and we'll move on up to higher numbers, multiplying those two. So here's where those math facts that I kept giving you quizzes on all quarter, that is where it's going to come as a very handy tool for you. So we've talked about how math is patterns over and over again, and you have learned the pattern of multiplication, and if you have those facts memorized, this is going to be a piece of cake for you. If you don't have it memorized, I highly encourage you to make that a goal this week to get those facts completely memorized so that you are not getting stuck, okay? So important. So math is a lot about patterns. We learn a pattern and then we kind of add something to it, and that's what we're doing today. So we're multiplying a two-digit number by a one-digit number, and I'm going to show you the steps to do that. So it's a step-by-step process, and as long as you've got that multiplication fact memorized, it's going to be a piece of cake for you, okay? All right, so what I mean by a one-digit number by a two-digit number is I am going to multiply 3 times 21. And you might be saying, but Mrs. LaFave, you only told us that we had to memorize up to 10, right? So you know 3 times 10 is 30. I didn't tell you to memorize all the way up to 21. But since you know all the facts till 10 to 10, this is going to be very easy for you to multiply. Okay, so when we say 3 times 21, the way we write it horizontally is this way, and the way we write it vertically is this way, right? We write 3 times 21. Okay, so when you are multiplying 21 3 times, basically what we're doing is we're adding 12 3 times, right? Remember, multiplication is repeated addition. This is kind of the long way, but this is a way that we can use to check our answer. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to show you a shortcut. I'm going to show you how to multiply these numbers, okay? Pattern's very simple. Okay, so first of all, let me get some of our blocks, and you know how this goes. Sometimes this helps people, sometimes this is confusing, so if you're confused by it, but you understand the pattern, that's okay. All right, so I have 21. It's represented by 2 10s and a 1, right? But I'm going to have 3 sets of 21. Remember, multiplication is equal sets, right? So I'm going to have 3 sets of 21. So here's another set of 21. This is where I wish I had 3 or 4 hands, right? Okay, so 21, 21, and 21, right? Okay, so if I wanted to add these up, I could, add 21, 21, 21, but I could also say, hey, let me count all my 10s, right? So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and all my 1s. I have 63, right? 63 if I put all of these together, right? Well, that's essentially what we're doing. We are going to separate our 10s and 1s, okay? So if I made 3 sets of 21 and I put all my 10s together and all my 1s together, it would look like this, right? Okay, so that's what we're doing, okay? So when you multiply a two-digit number by a one-digit number, let's see if I can find my pens. Okay, you are always going to start with the same pattern. You're going to take your multiplier and multiply by your 1s first, okay? So you're going to do this part first. Okay, you're going to multiply 3 times 1. That's super easy, right? 3 times 1 is 3. And we're going to put that right in that 1s column. Okay, so remember when I had 21 and I was putting my ones and my tens in separate piles? I ended up with 3 because I had 3 sets of 21 and I was only doing the ones, and so I got 3 ones, right? The next step that you're going to do, let me see if I can find a different color pen. All right, we'll do black. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take my multiplier, which is 3. Now I'm going to multiply by my tens. Okay, so now I'm going to say 3 times 2 tens. And 3 times 2 tens is, right, 6 tens. So I'm just going to put my 6 in my tens place. And that gives me 63. So I multiplied 3 times 1, and I put my answer down. Then I multiplied 3 times my tens, and I put my answer down in my tens spot. And that's it, right? So see, if you know your facts, you just learn the pattern, and you've got easy multiplication here. Okay, so I said that if we added, we would get the same answer. So we can use this for checking. So remember, when we add, we start with our ones, and we have how many ones? 3 ones. And then add our tens, 2 tens, 4 tens, 6 tens, and there's our answer. So you can see whether I added 3 groups of 21 or I multiplied 3 groups of 21, my answer, didn't mean to cross that out, my answer is still 63. Okay, if you don't get it, that's okay. That was the first example. We're going to do a few together so you'll be able to understand this. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's get a good one here. How about, well, we'll do the sample that's up in the box. Okay, so let's say this time we're going to do 13 times 3, or 3 times 13. Okay, so we're going to have 3 times 13. This is how we write it horizontally. Then when we write it vertically, we put the 13 on the top. Okay, and this is our multiplier. This means our number of groups. This means how many are in each group. Okay, so I'm going to have 13. Okay, so here's 1, 10, and 3 ones, right? Here's 1, 10, and 3 ones. Okay, another group of 1, 10, and 3 ones. And my third group of 1, 10, and 3 ones. Okay, so if I put all my ones together and all my tens together, let's count our ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? 9 ones. And how many tens do I have? Right, I have 3. So my answer should be 39. So let's see how that works. Okay, so we start with our multiplier. And first we do our ones. So 3 times 3 ones. I'm going to draw an arrow. Okay, 3 times 3 ones. And that answer is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, after I've done my ones, I'm going to do my multiplier times my tens. So now I'm going to take this 3 and I'm going to multiply by my tens. So 3 times 1, 10. 3 times 1 is 3. So that would be 3 tens. And that's just like when I added up my tens and ones, I got 39. But let's check with our additions. So I can do 13 plus 13 plus 13. Okay, 3 plus 3 plus 3. I've got 3 groups of 3. That is 9. And then I've got 3 ones in my tens place. So I've got 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3 in my tens place. Okay, so I can use my addition to check my multiplication. Okay, so let's try our work text page together, and I won't leave you alone on this. We're going to do the first page all together to get those habits established, to get those patterns down, okay? So stay with me, okay, and complete this with me, and you'll do the back on your own. Okay, so let's take a careful look up here at the top. All right, so they are showing 13 times 3, just like we did. Okay, so they had a 10 and 3 ones, a 10 and 3 ones, a 10 and 3 ones. They put all the 10s together and all the ones together. There were 9 ones and 3 10s, and the answer is 39. You can see they added, the T stands for 10s and the O stands for 1s. And then they showed the multiplication pattern. 3 times our 3 ones is 9, and that answer goes in the 1s column. And then they did 3 times our 110, and that answer goes in the 10s column. Okay, so down here we're going to be multiplying and using addition to check. Okay, so these symbols right here stand for the 10s and the 1s, and so we can also count those. Okay, so first of all, we have 42, and we're going to multiply by 2. We have the addition problem here, so we can use that to check. I like to do the addition afterwards, after I've tested my multiplication. Okay, so what we're going to do is, remember, we're going to multiply our multiplier times our 1s. So we say 2 times 2 is, and we're going to put that right in the 1s place. Okay, and now our next step is to take our multiplier, 2, and we're going to multiply by our 10s this time. So I'm going to draw a square around that. So it's the multiplier times our 4 10s. So 2 times 4 equals 8. It's 8 10s, so the 8 goes in the 10s spot. Okay, so 84. Now let's check our answer. Okay, so we have 42 plus 42. We start with our 1s, right? 2 plus 2 is, and then we add our 10s. 4 plus 4 is, good. And when we represented this with the cubes, remember we had 42, so we have 4 10s and 2 1s, and another group of 4 10s and 2 1s. So you can count all your 10s, and you see there's 8. Count all your 1s, you can see there are 4. Okay, so let's try 33 times 3. Okay, so pattern is still the same. So we're taking our multiplier, and we're going to multiply by our 1s. Okay, and if you want to draw like an oval or a rectangle around that, that's fine. If you want to draw an arrow, that's fine. It's just that you want to get this pattern right. We always start with our multiplier times our 1s. Then multiplier times our 10s is our next step. Okay, that's always going to be the same. All right, so 3 times 3 is 9. Now our next step is, I'm giving you a minute to think. Okay, the next step is our multiplier times our 10s. So that means 3 sets of 3 10s. Okay, so we're doing 3 times 3, and our answer is, again, 9, but this time this 9 goes in our 10s column. So our answer is 99. Now let's check our addition. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is, okay, and we put that in our 1s place, and then 3 plus 3 plus 3 is, right, 9 again. Okay, now let's look at our 10s. Okay, so remember, we were doing 3 groups of 33. And 33 is shown by 3 10s and 3 1s. 3 10s and 3 1s. 3 10s and 3 1s. So we have 33. We have 3 groups of 33. So we can check our 9s. Excuse me. We can check our 10s. Okay, how many 10s do we have? We have 9 10s. And how many 1s do we have? We have 9 1s. Okay, so now for number 4 and 5, they don't give us any numbers at all. Can we solve this? Sure we can. We've got something to go by. Okay, so we have 3 groups here, don't we? Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm looking, when I look in the computer screen, I'm seeing this on the right side, so Sorry. Okay, let's go over here. Number 3. How many groups do we have? We have 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. So that's going to be our multiplier. We have 3 groups. So I know I can put the 3 down here. And it's not 13 or 23, so I'm going to leave that tens place vacant and just write my 3 ones. Okay, so how many are in each group? So I've got a 10 and a 10. That makes 20. And I've got 3 ones. So 23, 23, 23. So we've got 3 groups of 23. Okay, so remember your 3s should be lined up here in your 1s, and then your 10s in the 10s column. Okay, first step, take your multiplier and multiply by your 3 ones. Okay, so we're doing 3 times 3 equals 9. Okay, now I'm going to take my multiplier. I don't want to forget about my 10s. That's the next step. So I say 3 times 2. 3 times 2 tens equals 6 tens. Yes, so I'm going to put 6 right there in my tens column. Okay, now I can check by adding. Okay, so I had 23, 23, 23. So I want to add 23 3 times. So add that up, write that on your paper. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to start with my 1s. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. And then add your 10s. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. Okay, now I can check. So I've multiplied, I got 69. I added, I got 69. Let's count our 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Count our 9s. 3, 6, 9, 69. Okay? All right, so let's look at number 4. Okay, we don't have our numbers written down, so we've got to use our pictures. We've got how many groups here? Right, we've got 4 different groups, right? So each group has 1 10 and 1 1. So 1 10 and 1 1 is, I hope you said 11. Okay, so we have 4 groups of 11. So that means 4 times 11. So I'm going to put 4 down here as my multiplier because that's showing me I have 4 groups. But remember, I'm going to leave a little space right here. I'm not going to put a 0 here. I'm just going to leave a space because it's 4 groups, right? It's not 14 groups or 40 groups. I don't have anything in the tens place. All right, so 4 goes in the ones place, and then I'm going to multiply by however is in each group, however many is in each group, and we've got 11 in each group. So the 11 goes up on top. Okay, so now I have 4 times 11. And let's think about what that first step is. So I'm going to take my multiplier and multiply by my ones. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 times 1, first of all. And 4 times 1 equals 4 ones. Okay, now I'm going to take my multiplier and I'm going to multiply by my tens. Okay, so I'm going to go this way now. I'm going to say 4 times 1, 10. 4 times 1. And 4 times 1, 10 equals 4 tens. So my answer is going to be 44. And then, of course, I can check that by adding 4 groups of 11. So it's going to look like that. Okay, so I have 11 4 times, 4 groups of 11. And I can easily count all those ones, 4 in my ones place and 4 in my tens place. And look at there. Either way we did it, we had 44. We can check here. We can see that we have 4 ones. We can check and see that we have 4 tens, 44. Okay, let's take a look at this word problem right here. Okay, so Joey, Philip, and Seth each packed 12 shirts for the week at camp? How many shirts did the 3 boys pack? Okay, so that word each, they each packed. That means that Joey packed 12, Philip packed 12, and Seth packed 12. All right, so we write Joey 12, Philip 12, Seth 12. Okay, and we could do it by adding, no problem, right? Can you add 12 plus 12 plus 12? You can add your 1s, 2, 4, 6, right? And then add your 10s, 1, 2, 3, and we get 36. Or we can multiply. So how many sets? There were this set, this set, this set, okay? Because Joey had a set, Philip had a set, and Seth had a set. So we have 3 sets. And how many were in each set? How many shirts were in each set? There were 12. Okay. And we can say, here's our multiplier. Multiply by our 1s. 3 times 2 1s is 6 1s. And 3 times 110 is 3. Now you can always write it vertically to help you see that, okay? No problem at all, okay? 3 times 12, 3 times 12. When we say 3 times 2, our 1's place is 6. And then we take our multiplier and multiply by 110. 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, so here we did it 3 different ways. We still get the same answer, right? The 3 boys packed 36, and remember to include a label. What would our label be? What did they pack? 36 shirts. Okay, so remember those patterns. The good thing about these videos is that you could go back to those patterns that I showed you to help you figure it out. Okay, so here's a little clue on the back. Here's the clue. Remember to multiply the 1's first, then multiply the 10's. Okay, so here they've given you the problems without the answers, so you need to check. Okay, the green line separates the 2 groups. So here's a group, and here's a group. How many 10's? How many 1's? Okay, and then down here, make sure you're thinking about when it says each, find out how much each of these kids had. You can add it up. You can multiply it. Okay, and you can also write the multiplication up and down this way, vertically. Okay, don't forget these are at the bottom, the review questions. They are subtraction. Make sure you don't add, okay? All right, I'm looking forward to see how you do on this. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, you can always rewind and watch me go through another problem. But all you need to do is remember that pattern. Take your multiplier, multiply it by the 1's. Put your answer for the 1's. Then take the multiplier, multiply your 10's. Put your answer down for the 10's. You can always check with addition as well. Okay? Good luck. I'll see you later.